Alright, let's test the sound on this bad boy. Alright. Massive week of football, whether it be Liverpool related, Premier League related, Champions League related, the whole nine. Yeah, I mean, uh, unbelievable week. So much to talk about. You know, let me get the Champions League table up. I have the results up as well, but also just get the table up to get like the full scope of everything. Yeah, what? So sorry. 1 second. All right. Yeah. Crazy week of football. Um, Obviously, if you see the title of this, you'll probably know what this video is about. The Mo Salah situation, but then also too, I just want to cover some of the fixtures for the Champions League games as well, because that's been it's been a pretty big week of Champions League fixtures as well. So some massive results. Liverpool actually winning, which I didn't expect. Arsenal 3-0 against Club Bruges. Barca won as well. Chelsea lost to Atlanta, which is just outrageous. And then obviously City beating Real Madrid is massive as well. We can't act like it isn't. Very, very. Oh, they edited the streaming thing. Maybe I'm bugging, but it looks completely different in the YouTube settings. Yeah, the most solid thing obviously is the biggest news story. I made 2 videos on it. Number one, right after it happened, I made a video basically talking about whether what I believe the results of the interview will be. I think it's going to ultimately result in Arne Slot getting fired. I don't think that the club can act immediately upon the fact that Mo Salah went to the public like this, but ultimately, let's be real, it 110% is Mo Salah attempting to get the manager sacked. I think that whether you like it or not, Arne Slot knows that, and I think that that's a big reason for why he's been so offended, so pissed off about the entire thing. I think he just knows. Yeah, this is a player trying to get me fired from my job, and yeah, it ultimately, I think if Liverpool continue on in the form that they're on, I think it's going to be a major factor in Slot getting fired. That's just my personal opinion. Could be wrong, could be right. Who knows? It's an interesting one. I made several videos on it. I don't want to beat a dead horse too much on this topic, but I do look at it from a perspective of I don't like the fact that he went to the media, but I agree with damn near everything that he said in the interview. I think, he has been cast to the wolves a little bit. You don't go from playing a player damn near 90 minutes in every single game to then he plays only one half of football in 3 games. There clearly was some pressure. Now, the massive story about the entire thing is people stating and giving opinions that they think Mo Salah won't play for Liverpool Football Club anymore, or ever again, even at that fact, and that he'll be sold in the summer transfer window. From a personal perspective, I find that extremely hard to believe. I think, I do think Salah will remain a Liverpool player. Um, I think Salah is the type of player that often can be emotional. We've seen him go to the media in the past, specifically with his contract situation last season. It was a big talking point. So I'm not entirely surprised that he did this again. I think a big difference between this one and the contract situation was, I talked about a little bit in my video I made yesterday talking about the Jamie Carragher interview. But Carragher said that he thinks this is really, really calculated. I don't really think it's extremely calculated. Rather, I think it was like extremely emotional from Salah. I think you could kind of see it in how he handles the questioning, and also too, like, look, at the end of the day, like, with the contract situation, when he went to the media that time, I think it was very, very clear that people, for the most part, were going to get behind Salah and support him. Whereas in this situation, I think it was pretty clear he was going to get a lot of criticism. That's just, like, let's be real. So, whether or not he ever plays for Liverpool, we'll have to wait and see. I will be shit shocked if he doesn't. Just speaking honest here, I think the club. Here's my mindset: is I think that everyone right now is talking about what Salah, what the club, what Slot, what everyone has to do, what decisions need to be made for the future of the Liverpool Football Club. Personally, I don't think that any decisions need to be made. I don't think any changes need to be made with the club. I think you don't sack Salah. Or you don't transfer Salah, rather. You don't sack Slot, especially with consideration to the fact that Salah is just going to leave and go to the African Cup of Nations damn near momentarily now at this point. There's no point in really making any change because he's going to be, not voluntarily, but like almost voluntarily out of the team for a while with the African Cup of Nations. I think the club needs to get over this hump, because if you sell Salah and the club continues to perform poorly, everyone's going to be like, oh, why on earth did we sell our best player in the past 10, 15 years? Whereas if you sack Slot right now, then everyone's going to... And then Liverpool are still performing badly no matter who you bring in. It's like, well, maybe Slot wasn't the issue. So what I really honestly and truthfully think is Liverpool need to hold on, let Salah go to AFCON, and then evaluate the performances that Slot has once he leaves for AFCON. It's almost a good thing in terms of like us evaluating Slot at this point, because once he goes to the African Cup of Nations, it's not like, oh, well, Liverpool are playing like shit, but their best players at AFCON. No. You benched our best player and had a falling out with him right before he left to AFCON. So I don't want to hear that. I truthfully, I just want to see what Slot can do. See how Salah does in the AFCON. See if there's any chance of him being integrated back into the side when he returns. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I definitely think that everyone right now is talking about, I think Salah's gone. They're going to transfer him to Saudi. I will be so surprised and disappointed, too, with the club. Like, this is a major fuck-up of a player, but it's a player that, one of the few players at Liverpool Football Club, I mean, you're talking about Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, probably are the two that you could say can afford a major fuck-up, and you just turn your head at it. I do feel bad for Virgil in a lot of sense because I think that with this whole situation happening, that people are turning and looking at Verge now, and I don't really think that that's entirely fair. Um, I think it's not on him that Salah had a crash out and decided, hey, I'm going to publicly slate our manager for no apparent reason. Now, the Jamie Carragher interview, I put out a video yesterday reacting to it. Um, I thought it was all in all kind of bullshit. I think Jamie Carragher doesn't like Mo Salah. I think that's been pretty apparent for some time now, and I think we got to see that a little bit more in the interview. I think that he really, really talked down on Mo Salah's character. Mo Salah and Jamie Carragher have been two people that necessarily have not got along for quite some time. Jamie said some shit about Mo in the past, and I think that has, really, really rubbed Mo the wrong way. Not just Salah. That is one thing. Is that like I do think that with the Carragher and Salah thing, people are going to be very quick to say, "Oh, well, Mo just doesn't like Jamie." Mo doesn't like Jamie. I don't think Verge likes Jamie. I don't think a lot of people in the Liverpool dressing room like Jamie Carragher. And I think that's because he went from player to now he's like a pundit. And like this new school of punditry is just, say exactly what's on your mind, and we'll see. We'll see what the reaction like. I don't know. I think it was a bad look for Carragher. I think you know what it is about Carragher's video? I think that he could have gotten the same point across with just wording it completely different. Like I don't think the venomous way that he spoke about Salah and this entire situation, like I think you could have put that in a lot more of a dim way. A lot more of a way that was more, should I say, political, things like that. I think I really do think it could have been worded a different way and portray the same message. It was almost like he called it, just opened it up with a disgrace. Had to talk about how Mo Salah was the guy who failed at Chelsea. Had to talk about how Mo Salah has never won an African Cup of Nations for Egypt, which he's going to look stupid if Mo goes and wins the AFCON, by the way. But I'm like, when he says these things, I'm like, none of that has to do with the current situation with Mo at Liverpool and Mo and Slot. None of that has anything to do with this current situation that we have. And then he's talking about how Salah doesn't track back defensively, blah, 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 blah. Look, come off it a bit, Come on. Salah has not been playing great this year. I don't think it's unreasonable to have dropped him to the bench. However, dropping Salah to the bench 3 games in a row and only playing him for a half out of those 3 games, I think is a little ridiculous. I think, especially in situations to where you might think, oh, well, Liverpool, maybe we're not going to play Mo in big games. It was West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds. You tell me Mo Salah can't have an impact in those games? Not one of them. Not one of them. The West Ham game was the first one. I said, okay, didn't even come onto the pitch. Then the game against Sunderland, he comes on at halftime. I go, all right, that's fine. And then he doesn't feature in the Leeds game at all. So I don't know. I think the way Carra handled it probably was not diplomatic. I don't think he cares that it wasn't diplomatic. But my whole thing with Carra is I don't really give a shit. Say what you say, but when nobody in that Liverpool dressing room is fond of you, don't complain about it. Because sometimes I feel like with Kara, he'll say things, people get pissed, and then he acts as that. And I don't have any specific examples, so like, not to like, say anything too crazy about the guy, but that's just my thoughts and opinions on the matter. And I just got a comment on one of them. One of my videos on the video where I talked about Kara. Sorry, I'm reading this right now, live. Someone commented, other opinions are a disgrace. Wow, Carragher should question himself as a human being. This guy is pathetic. Damn. Some people go hard as fuck in the comments. It's unbelievable. All right. Remaining, I'm going to turn to the Champions League now. The results of the Champions League. And talk about, I guess, the Champions League table. Yeah, maybe, you know what? What if I do this? Oh, no. Undo. Yeah. All right. Here is the Champions League table. Obviously, Arsenal sitting real pretty currently. Have not lost a game, which is, if you're an Arsenal supporter, this looks great. Obviously, you're gonna not even have to deal with the playoffs. Liverpool I was looking it up, 9 through 24. Obviously do have to go through the playoffs. Real sitting pretty, Man City sitting pretty, Bayern, PSG, all of them sitting real pretty. The interesting teams, I would say, are basically from Liverpool through 15th. Liverpool, Dortmund, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea, Barca, Juve. A lot of teams there that I guess realistically could potentially have to feature in the playoffs this season. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes entirely. Very interesting games. People have been chatting about the fact that we Xabi Alonso hasn't been doing, I guess, up to the standard that a lot of people had for him. I look at it, of course, a bunch of Liverpool fans are saying we need to bring in Xabi to Liverpool if he gets the sack at Real. I wouldn't hate it. That was what I wanted before Slot got the managerial position at Liverpool. I wanted Xabi Alonso. I think he would have been a really good fit. Obviously, if Slot gets sacked and Alonso gets sacked, I do think that he would probably be the number one choice for Liverpool, especially because when you take into consideration we've invested a lot of money into Florian Wirtz, have not gotten the return on that investment that we probably all hoped for. So I would think that bringing in Alonso as manager, I think would be a really good decision in that regard. Just to get some familiarity, I guess. I think would be really important. But from what I've read, the hierarchy at Liverpool Football Club want to keep Arne Slot in the job. So we'll see. We shall see. I don't know. I don't think he's done good enough for Liverpool so far. But again, could it happen? It could. You know, I could see Slot turning it around if he goes back to the old style of how Liverpool used to play. But I don't see him doing that, and that's what frustrates me probably the most. So, you know, and this whole all of the shit going on with Salah, I guess I would describe it as just like insult to injury. Um, so you know, it's not ideal in anyone's best interest either. So the new, I do have to tell you guys, the new format they have for like the dashboard for streaming on YouTube is completely different, and it trips me out. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone has anything they want to talk about in the chat. Go ahead and drop it. But otherwise, I am going to bounce. Very dead stream again. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. It is what it is, baby. Alright. I'm Audi 5000. For everyone who watches this, have a beautiful and blessed night.